What's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. My name is Craig. I hope everyone had a fabulous weekend. What is Bitcoin doing? Well, if you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, you'll know that we called the 123 top a long time ago. That was a couple months ago. And then after we came down, I closed those shorts, starting added more shorts, and I told you guys to watch 118 for another good short position, which we've hit. I'm going to also go over quickly after we go over Bitcoin in this video. I'm going to go over quickly some altcoins. We'll go over Ethereum, XRP, Solana, Cardano, kind of talk about where that stuff is at. So if you guys are trading this, make sure you guys leave a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below what you're doing. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here, if you haven't subscribed already, and tick your notifications to get you notified when I post new videos. All right, so on CNBC, Dow futures are down 166 points, S&P is down 21, and NASDAQ's down 87 points on pre-markets. But as you guys know, this can change quickly. I do think Bitcoin is set for some type of bounce here. We'll talk about that. First, I just want to talk about why the markets are quote unquote panicking, because Trump put a $100,000 H-1B fee on some visas for mostly like a lot of people from India, a lot of people from China, and some others. So something to keep an eye on. I think this is more of just a blip and something going to happen, but let's take a look at Bitcoin. So on the big picture, you guys know I'm watching this trend line. This is huge. Unless we get above this, which is now around 127.5-ish. Like I said, if we break this top trend line, this could be a massive, massive, massive bull run. But if we've topped out here, we have much further down to go. We're going to talk about those targets. There's a lot of things here that, like this right here on the MACD, you can see this lower high, and then we had a higher high. That is bearish divergence, right? And then down here, the same thing. Look at all this bearish divergence. There's three higher highs, three lower highs on the RSI. Bearish divergence, guys. This is a very, very scary spot if you are holding a lot of Bitcoin. Because we are near what should be the top, right? So if it's 4-year cycle, and if you've noticed on the 4-year cycles, the market topped out earlier every time. So that's just something to keep an eye on. But what we had here, we were watching this rising wedge. Once we broke, I said this is where I'm looking for the target, which still remains. I still believe that's where we're headed. And we've also talked about an Elliott wave count here, which we're going to take a look at here in a minute. But obviously, it's looking like a good area to bounce, and I'll show you why. If we look at the RSI on the 4-hour, let me move this up. If you look at the RSI on the 4-hour here, sorry, my mic was in my way. We've got pretty low on the RSI. We can go lower, don't get me wrong, but it's at 22 right now. Obviously, it's been lower, but it does look like a good area to bounce. Now, how you're going to know how big the next move is going to be, you know, this could just end up like this, right? So you kind of just get a little bit of action before another downside, right? But this should go much higher, right? So watch that RSI on the 4-hour. With that, if the RSI is moving up way faster than the price action, then it's just building up for another downside move, which I think is more likely to what's going to happen. But I showed you guys this Elliott wave count here, right? And if you guys remember how I got this, so I showed you what I was looking for. 118. I've been talking about that forever. If you follow me on X, if you don't, make sure you follow me on X. All my links are down below. If you guys are interested in trading, also huge bonuses for using both exchanges, which are Prime XBT and Bitunix. They're both sponsors of the channel. Prime XBT you can trade traditional markets on also, which is awesome. You can use your crypto to do that. If you guys have not tried that out, I definitely suggest trying that out. Also, so we talked about this huge wave count, right? And 3-wave is the one you usually want to get into. Now, obviously, this is invalidated if we break that 118. But we did hit that 118. And again, if you follow me on X, I talked about that when we were down here. I said it's possible to go to 118. And why did I say that? If you guys are learning anything, even if you're not learning yet, if you're new here, just put the fibs on right here, right from the high to the low. And that was the golden pocket. That's where I was talking about getting a rejection to come on down. Now, does it have to be this wave count? Absolutely not. But there's a very good chance that it is. And if that's the case, I'm looking for it to get down to around that $90,000 to $92,000 range, which also shows up right here, right, as one of the measured moves. Things are lining up, and then I expect a big bounce from there. But remember, we're probably going to see a decent bounce here. I'm going to show you where my shorts are. They're at a loss right now, but it is a huge, huge position. And then we'll get into one more Bitcoin chart, and then Ethereum, XRP, Solana, ADA, and see what's happening with that. So right now we are down 22,000, but this is over $3.7 million exposure. I have 33 Bitcoin short. And what does that mean? That means for every $100, we move $3,300. So you do the math. But this is where we're at now. We're down 21. Here's where I entered. There was 15 entered down here, about 15 here, and then another 3 here at that 118 where I was talking about. But if you guys were around, we called this top here. We rode this short all the way down, made like $100,000 off of that one. So planning to make a lot more off this one if it plays out, right? So what was another thing we were talking about on the weekly? If you guys have been watching the channel, you'll know that right here on the weekly, we had 3 black crows. Of course, you usually get a bounce after that before a continuation to the downside, which I think is what's happening now. And as you can see, this is a pretty bearish candle on the weekly last week. Let's take a look at the monthly. I don't know if I've looked at the monthly with you guys, but it does look very toppy on the monthly. So we'll see what happens. This candle right here, if we make this month's candle red, we only got 8 days left. But if we make that red, that's going to be extremely bearish. So be keeping an eye out for that. All right, let's take a look at Ethereum. Ethereum, we're right in our limbo. We're just in limbo right here, right? Remember, if we could stay above the 4,400, then we were going to be bullish. If we drop below it, we are kind of just in the medium, right? But nothing really happening there. If this 3,900 stays as support, then we can still be hopeful that we get back above the blue trend line and be super bullish on Ethereum. But if we break that 39, it goes bearish again, guys. You guys know I have super low targets here. I know a lot of people think that's impossible. Most of those people must be new to crypto. XRP, so we broke back down below the trend line here. Same thing. A lot of fake outs happening, guys. This could be the biggest money grab in history that I've been talking about for a long time. Just kind of brewing up, and when it hits, it'll hit hard, so just be careful. We still have a chance to get up to that 39.1, which was our measured move. If you guys watch this channel for any amount of time, we talked about this a long time ago. Measured move of this wedge to where it broke out, and that gets you up to that $3.91. There's also another target up to this 471, which I highly doubt we'll get to, but who knows? Maybe they'll come up with some fake crazy news about something, get it to shoot up there, and then drain it. We'll see what happens there. Solana. So Solana got back inside this wedge, or this rising channel that we're walking, but boom, back down below. Like I said, just kind of a fake out here, just kind of sucking in a lot of new money and then taking their money. So nothing's really changed here. My targets are still down here. That's the measured move of breaking out of this. I think this was just more manipulation to get back in there, to get people bullish. Same thing on Ethereum right here. Got everybody super bullish above this trend line, right? In reality, nothing really super bullish there, guys. XRP, we just went over that. Solana, ADA. So we talked about this being the top over here. I still think we're going to come down, retest this range down at the bottom here. We'll see what happens around that 51 cents. If it breaks below that, it's going to get really ugly. But until then, we'll wait and see. But anyways, still, like I said, here's where I'm at a loss on my short positions for right now. But if you guys think you're going to trade and never lose, or if you're scared and you're using too much money and you're going to make bad decisions, I made a video on that. I'll leave that up top. You can check it out. But other than that, guys, I told you guys I've been getting into rentals. I got my rental I'm going to work on this morning, so I wanted to, that's why this video is so early. I got a lot of stuff to do. So anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys. Make sure you smash that thumbs up, leave your comments below, and I will catch you in the next one.